President Trump also had a very entertaining exchange with the awful mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, who, you will recall, was at one point considered for Joe Biden's possible vice presidential pick. This human. Here was Donald Trump versus Karen Bass.
But we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You should let them do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can.
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot.
Yeah.
I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes.
Okay. Again, it is because of Democratic malfeasance and mishandling that all of this came about, and Donald Trump is simply pointing that out. This is the most successful launch of any administration in my lifetime. There's just no question about it. We are, 8 days deep into this administration? And the president has already unleashed dozens of executive orders clearing out dead wood from a wide variety of agencies. He has already made moves to intimidate opponents of the United States into, for example, taking illegal immigrants back. That's what he did over the weekend. He has directed his own administrative agencies to look at the costs of various boondoggle programs. He has decided to overturn DEI throughout his administration. Right? All these things are incredible. One thing that President Trump knows this time that he didn't last time is that it is very important for him to clear out the obstacles to his ability to actually govern. So there's a big controversy that broke out over the weekend because President Trump fired something like 17 inspectors general. He's supposedly in violation of the law. I'm going to explain that in a moment. According to the New York Times, President Trump fired at least 12 inspectors general, turns out it was 17, late on Friday night. 3 people with knowledge of the matter said, capping a week of dramatic shakeups of the federal government with a purge of independent watchdog officials created by Congress to root out abuse and illegality within federal agencies. The firings defied a law that requires presidents to give Congress 30 days advance notice before removing any inspector general, along with reasons for the firing. Just 2 years ago, Congress strengthened that provision by requiring the notice to include a substantive rationale, including detailed and case-specific reasons for the removal. The move was the latest wave of abrupt upheavals following the inauguration of Mr. Trump that put the government in increasing confusion. Apparently, the watchdogs that were removed included the Departments of Agriculture, Commerce, Defense, Education, Housing and Urban Development, Interior, Labor, Transportation, and Veterans Affairs, along with the EPA and the Small Business Administration. Now, why exactly did they do this? The answer is because the Trump administration in the first go-around was hamstrung by independent inspectors general who were put in place by Congress, basically in order to hamstring the Trump administration. I personally know many members of Trump administration number 1 who were nearly bankrupted because of the legal costs they had to undergo, thanks to, for example, the Robert Mueller report. The number of hours that were dedicated to that stupid foray into mythical idiocy was exorbitant. These inspector generals do not work for Congress. They work for the executive branch. It is probably unconstitutional for Congress to appoint inspectors general inside the executive branch that the president cannot fire. The executive branch is its own branch of government. It does not work for the legislature. That is not how this works. The president of the United States does not have... The Congress has its own subpoena power. The Congress has its own investigatory power. The Congress has its own ability to dig into what's going on in the executive branch. That's its oversight power. Appointing independent inspectors general with a wide-ranging ability to dig and dig and dig and dig, not for the crime, but for the man, is a massive problem. And President Trump knows that. He saw it during his first administration. Democrats, of course, are very upset about all of this. They would not be nearly as upset if these inspectors general had spent their time deep stating Joe Biden during the last administration. They didn't, because these inspectors general tend to be Democratic plans very often. Here was the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer ripping the firing of the inspectors general. Quote, in the dark of night, President Trump fired at least 12 independent inspectors general at important federal agencies across the administration, a chilling purge. It's a preview of the lawless approach President Trump and his administration is taking to being president. Okay, you know what was lawless? The activation of the DOJ to go after Joe Biden's political opposition. You know what else was lawless? The activation of the intelligence apparatus of the United States government to go after the sitting president of the United States during Trump term number 1. You know what's not lawless? The president of the United States firing people in the executive branch. That is, in fact, not lawless. And these inspectors general, now there's a good case that there should never be independent inspectors general inside these agencies, because independent of what? To whom do they answer? If Congress has its own investigative power, why are there executive branch agents who are not answerable to the president of the United States? How do you fire them precisely? We'll get to more of this in a moment. First, did you know that American homeowners have over $32 trillion in equity? And criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing. Scammers can transfer your title out of your name using a one-page document they file at the county. Then they can take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. The most concerning part, you won't find out about it until collection or foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox, leaving you with financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with Home Title Lock's exclusive $1 million triple lock protection. This service offers 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if fraud should occur, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title. Our own senior video editor, Adam, trusts them to protect his home. You can too. So, when was the last time you checked on your title? If the answer is never, that's exactly what scammers are counting on. The good news is, we've partnered with Home Title Lock to offer you all 25% off their services. Go to HometitleLock.com, use my promo code Shapiro25 to save 25%, and you'll also get a free title history report to ensure you're not already a victim. And make sure you check out the $1 million triple lock protection details when you get there. Link below, that's HometitleLock.com, promo code Shapiro25. Now, of course, you have Adam Schiff, some of the most corrupt people in American government complaining about this. Adam Schiff, who was a congressperson who went on air nearly every day during Trump number 1 and claimed that the Russians had bought and paid for Trump and that there would be evidence coming any moment that showed that Trump was basically a Russian agent. Now he is suggesting that the real reason that Trump is firing all these people that Adam Schiff helped sick on him in the first place, the reason he's firing all these people is because he wants rampant waste and fraud.
The American people, if we don't have good and independent inspector generals, are going to see the swamp refill. They're going to see rampant waste, fraud. They're going to see corruption. It may be the president's goal here, when he's got a meme coin that's making him billions, is to remove anyone that's going to call the public attention to his malfeasance.
Yeah. Again, this sort of absolute hypocrisy is truly awful, and it's the reason why these people are getting fired today. Speaking of President Trump making the changes that should have happened during administration number 1, President Trump's DOJ is already cleaning house, according to the Wall Street Journal. They replaced a Biden-era memo telling prosecutors to show leniency to some drug offenders with a new policy calling for the pursuit of the most serious charges and the stiffest penalties for all crimes. They halted much of the department's civil rights and environmental work, and they transferred more than 15 career employees to relatively marginal positions, part of a broader effort to ultimately thin the workforce. That was just week number 1. Many department employees are on edge because they are waiting Senate confirmation of Pam Bondi, that's Trump AG nominee. Her chief of staff, Chad Mizell, is leading the department until then, and they are already shaking up the DOJ in major ways. This is good. People should be living on edge. The American people were living on edge when Joe Biden was president. Career employees at the DOJ who are interested in pushing their own agenda should be living on edge. Speaking of which, charges were dropped by federal prosecutors against a surgeon, Dr. Athenheim. We talked about this on the show a few months back. He was indicted last May in U.S. District Court in Houston on 4 counts of obtaining under false pretenses personal medical information from the online system at Texas Children's Database. He requested access to the hospital's record database in 2023, claiming he needed information to provide adult care services. He then showed that this particular health care hospital was actually transing the children. He disclosed the information to Chris Rufo, our friend. Rufo then published an article saying the hospital was continuing to provide trans care to minors after it announced an end to the practice. He said that he hadn't done anything wrong. He was a whistleblower. He had not actually revealed any patient information at all. He just said, guys, this is still happening, which is sort of typical whistleblowing, right? No private information was actually disclosed, just the information that Texas Children's Hospital was still doing the thing they said they were not actually doing. Well, now the DOJ has dropped the charges, as well they should have. No crime was actually committed in the first place. Again, a new day is dawning. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, Me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.